join me as we plan this week using Tralala Stickers Chanel themed kit, a beautiful collection of deco, functional boxes, trackers, just about everything that you could possibly need. Join me as we get into this. I'm using Simply Gilded Washi and the Pink Room Co. to do my banner today. So let's get started on laying down the foundation. As you can see, there are 4 lovely colours to choose from in glitter headers. I've gone with the pink for across the top, and we'll probably use the other colours in the glitter headers throughout the spread. So just laying down the 2 that I require for the washi banner, and that's all tidied up, and then I'll go and pop the rest underneath the date covers as we work across the top of the page. As the glitter headers are completed, then I would work on laying down my 4 boxes. I usually have a habit of going 1 up and 1 down with the 4 boxes, but that plan always goes a little bit astray if you happen to get a kit that's got some double boxes in it, which this one has. So as I have a look through those double boxes and get an idea of what I want to lay down, I start to place them just in some sort of a pleasing pattern. Sometimes I'll look at the background and try not to put 2 heavily pink ones together or 2 heavily black ones together. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. After I'd finished this spread, I thought I really should have put the pink lady with the Eiffel Tower up in the back, up in the top of the sidebar, but that's all very well. Wasn't meant to be, and as I said, it's always afterwards when you look at these things you think something might be a good idea, but I certainly won't go back and change it. As I work through the spread deciding on which 4 boxes to put where, I'm also considering which one I'm going to use in the sidebar. With the Whistle and Birch planners, you've got the month up the top corner there and the week. I actually don't mind that. It's a pleasant font, and it's not such a bad thing. I've been finding that counting the weeks has been quite helpful, and even the little leaf design underneath is not unpleasant. So, I mean, if you chose, you could certainly cover that up with your box. You wouldn't have to white it out, because one of the benefits of Whistle and Birch is that they've got that nice grey font, and it's not difficult to cover over. And that's a bonus, because I'm not a mad fan of using whiteout all over the planner, which is one of the things that put me off the Erin Condren. So as I progress through, I'm looking at what I would like to put into that sidebar, and I'm going to use the grey glitter headers to divide between my sections. I'll add probably both of my trackers because I like to track my vitamins. I can't believe that it's something I should do every day, but it's so easy to forget. And I also like to track my steps. The steps are looking a little bit sad lately. You would think with COVID and all the time I have to walk that I would take advantage, but that doesn't seem to be the case. There are so many other things happening that you get to the end of the day and you're a bit pooped and those steps are not looking as healthy as they should. So that's the good thing about planning. It's there to remind me that that's an action I really need to get better with. And then underneath I put the weekly tracker, which is what I normally use for meals. My husband has recently taken over cooking a lot of the meals, and I have to say he's doing an amazing job. And but he will sometimes forget what he's cooked or doesn't like to cook a whole lot of things in a row. And it's quite handy having that little tracker there. I can remind him what we have had, and it's a good way for me to keep my diet under control, as in trying to practice some healthy eating. You might see here that I have cut the large trackers in half. That's something I like to do. I usually like to sort of work on 3 to-dos each day, and then anything else that crops up during the day I will add to the planner. So depending on how many hearts they have on them, some have 5, some have 7. Regardless, I usually just cut off the 3. On occasions, I might put a glitter header between the box and the tracker, but not always. And if you've got a kit that has got plenty of to-dos and to-days, I like to use the tracker for my to-dos, and I will often put the today up the top with the regular things that I tend to do on a Monday each week and so on. Because I'm working 5 days a week, it can get a little bit bland because your activities are very similar. And then if you add to that the fact that we're working through COVID and that has reduced everybody's activities considerably, then it's starting to look a little bit uninspiring on some of the spreads. But I know that everybody's in the same boat with me, so it's not something unusual. Some people have been working from home and perhaps have a little bit more variety in their day. I have not been doing that. I've continued to head off to work. So what I did here is I cut up one of the washi strips. Sadly, I didn't do a wonderful job of that. Some are a little bit thicker than others, but I just cut these up to denote my work days. And it's not like I needed to be reminded to go to work, but they are a fact of life that they take up some time on each of my 5 days. So I pop them up there. I suppose the only difference is when we get a day off or a public holiday or perhaps a day not being well or something like that. I've used the little work script out of the kit, which is quite good. Not a lot of kits actually give you a minimum of 5 work scripts, so I really appreciated that in this kit. And then I could just pop across the top my work hours. My work hours are fairly set, and so I don't really need to write down what the actual hours are, and they're not hard to remember at all, which is really good. So that's sort of how the day starts off and then progresses from there. So in this case, once all of those scripts are down, and as I said, I used a little bit of washi from the kit. You could use some of the glitter headers, or you could use some of the little things. There was plenty of variety in this one. So I've then gone on to use a little thing with a little heart on the side that I've replaced or covered over with a coffee cup or a teacup, depending on what you like. And really, you can't start a Monday morning without your coffee first, or your cup of tea, whatever your poison happens to be. I don't know, I suffer a little bit from Monday morning itis, so a cup of coffee certainly makes things just a little bit easier to get going. Then I've taken another one of those little things, and on this I've written that I needed to go to another clinic that morning to pick up some flu vaccines. Although the media was advertising that there were plenty of them around, they were actually in reasonably short supply initially, and there was quite a bit of talk on the media about having them done, so this created a bit of a frenzy. So we had used all of ours, and fortunately we had a clinic that was in abundance and they were able to share some with us. So I went and grabbed those before I started work this morning, um, which everyone was pleased to see. Monday mornings tend to be the time that I catch up on the finances and prepare reports for our Monday evening meeting. Also, perhaps send off reports to the various areas that they need to go, and that takes up probably 2/3 of the morning. Funny that I liken finances to a little black Chanel bag, but it is what it is. Okay, so after I've completed that section there, I also filled in my to-do list for that day. And then I tend to finish off the day by adding what I might have watched. And on that particular occasion, I think I was finishing off a recommendation on Netflix called Marcella. If you like a good whodunit, there's quite a good supply of little things in this kit, so that enables me to use them to mark the various things that have gone on through the day. As I said, coffee starting the day, a little bit of a habit, but one that I enjoy, and I don't have too many other bad habits. Well, I don't think I do. Okay. This morning I also spoke to another practice manager who was going through accreditation, and she was wanting to, or we were sharing some ideas on reception activities and KPIs and sorts of expectations that that she had. It's good to speak to other people in the industry and to network, because you either confirm the things you're doing well, or you are picked up on some things that perhaps you can improve on, which is helpful. So after speaking with her, I've just popped a little camellia, the little Chanel camellia on there, which was from the kit. Then I've moved down to marking the 3 to-dos that I had to do for the day. I had a staff member to find some cover for, and I need to combine a couple of documents that had changed during a process and create a new table of contents, and I also needed to book a doctor's appointment. There was no happy mail on this day. I usually mark my happy mail. If I don't use it over on the sidebar, then I certainly put it into the daily spread, and it's always a bit of a highlight to get the happy mail, but on this occasion there wasn't any. Hadn't been any, I don't think, for a couple of days, so such is life. And in the evening I just had a bit of a YouTube binge, catching up on watching some of my favourite planners and what they're doing. As you start to watch the different people with their spreads, you certainly discover that there are some that are very much your vibe, and you tend to lean towards them. I suppose it's inevitable. Different people are creative in different ways, and I've certainly got a couple of favourites that I lean to. So on some evenings, rather than watch TV or do stickers or print or cut or whatever, I might watch a YouTube binge. That little Happy Mail sticker is from Oscar and Lou, and the little divider is from the kit. It's quite a cute little divider. So on Wednesday morning, one of our doctors called in sick, a doctor that's not very often unwell, and I know the staff were quite concerned about him, so it was worth noting in the planner, and I would need to look at how we would put things in place for him if he was going to be on protracted leave. So I used a half box for that, and just a little heart, because we're a pretty close-knit team, and everybody's concerned when one of the team is not 100%. I've just popped a little divider up there using some of that Pink Room Co. washi. It came with a set. I think there were 3 or 4 in that set, which were blacks and golds, and they were really quite pretty. So moving on from that divider, we've got to mark the next event, and really all that's going to fit in there will be another little. And so on this occasion I'm just marking that the accreditation process that we've been going through in preparation is nearing completion. I've done accreditation in private practice before, but I haven't done it for a GP clinic, and I have to say it's pretty intense. There is an awful lot of documentation and double checking and laws that have to be abided by, and it really is quite huge and comprehensive. But it's nice to be nearing the end, and will be definitely glad to have it behind me. So I'm just marking there that I'd managed to secure a doctor's appointment. I also had did some paper shy freebies. They're a very generous Facebook group, and I love their product. I've ordered quite a few paper shy stickers, and they're just incredibly cute. And I was working on those that afternoon. I also noted that the COVID numbers were starting to go down, which was rather positive working forward. And I had an early night. Middle of the week tends to do that to you. So now I've headed over to Thursday, starting the day with the work script at the top that had already been laid down. And on this particular day, I was working from home. It was an opportunity to have a really productive day. There are no interruptions, and it allowed me to sit by the window, watch the day go by, and continue to work on those fairly intense documents. Because the table of contents in the actual manual had changed since the last time it was done, that needed to all be redone. I'm surprised how much work was involved. All the information was there. It's just putting things on different pages and putting them in the right order was more fiddly than I thought it was going to be. But still, needed to be done. The nice thing about working at home for the day was that my office in amongst the clinic doesn't, it's perfectly adequate office, it just doesn't happen to have an external window. And I underestimated just how lovely it was to see the clouds and the sky rolling through and the change through the day. I really enjoyed working by that window this day, and I was surprised at just how productive I was. And I think 6 o'clock came round, and I hadn't looked up for quite some time. I had to get a reminder that the day was done, but that was a good thing to do. After working on trying to combine 3 policy and procedure manuals into one updated one, I made quite a mess in my room. So I spent a little bit of time tidying it all up before I left that for the afternoon, and so that I'm just adding that to the day on Thursday. And I finished off with watching one of my favourites, Father Brown. I love a good whodunit. I particularly love the British whodunits. Miss Marple, Agatha Christie, Poirot, all that sort of stuff. So, yep, an old-fashioned girl that likes old-fashioned series. So I finished off that Thursday by watching Father Brown, and then off to bed after that. So an early start on Friday morning, and we needed to arrange some more cover this morning. Very rare actually, because our staff are very, very reliable, have a great work ethic. On Fridays I pay some bills at work, and I tend to put away a few things that have accumulated over the week and get the filing finished and sorted so that it's done ready for my fresh start on a Monday. So on this particular Friday evening, I had a lovely visit from one of my sons and his family, and that turned into us all sticking around and having dinner together, which is a nice way to finish off the week. So I definitely popped that into my diary, as I really couldn't think of a better way to finish off a Friday night. and head into the weekend. I can't actually remember what we did have that night. I should go back and check my planner, shouldn't I? I think we may have got one of our favourites, which is the local Shanikas, which does some Italian sort of themed pastas and dishes, which are pretty yummy. And I don't think anyone has had a bad meal from them yet, so that's what we enjoyed that evening. I'm sorry I lost a little bit of footage here, so it's jumped straight to the end of the video. I don't know where it disappeared to, but thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.